Light. Light is necessary for photosynthesis. It affects the distribution and growth of plants. Light affects all plant groups. Rainfall. Rainfall helps with the growth of plants. Rainfall can also damage plants, compact soil, and cause erosion. Rainfall affects all plant groups. Temperature. Temperature affects the metabolic rate and helps with germination. Temperature affects all plant groups. Soil. The soil helps with supplying the plants with nutrients. Soil affects all plant groups. Wind. Wind helps plants with growth. Wind can do many things to plants, including making them more sturdy or can even damage and break them. Wind affects all plant groups.
Bryophytes prefer moist environments, however they can also survive in dry environments. They produce reproductive structures and don't produce seeds or flowers. They reproduce via spores. They do need water to reproduce, however not a lot is needed. A thin layer of water is required on the surface of the plant. Fertilization does occur. Water is used for the movement of gametes and eventually results in the fertilization of the egg. The bryophyte is very similar to the aquatic plant. They both have chlorophyll A and B, and the structures of these are very similar. Pseudophytes live in a wide range of habitats, from remote mountains to bodies of water and open fields. They are independent and free-living, which means that they need gametes from other plants for fertilization to occur. Water is needed for fertilization to occur. When water is present, the male gametes move to the eggs. Fertilization occurs via the transport of male gametes to the eggs. They reproduce via spores and seeds are not formed. Sporophyte produces the spores found in pseudophytes. They are said to be over 4 million years old.
Gymnosperms live in dry areas on land. They reproduce via the transfer of male gametes to the female egg cells. This is known as pollination and is done by wind. Water is needed for the transport of nutrients. They conserve and use water very well. Fertilization occurs when male and female gametes fuse. No swimming happens in this process. Only seeds are formed, however they do not develop with the ovary. They have a naked seed. Gymnosperms have been known to be very efficient at adapting to certain areas that give them the resources they need for reproduction and survival.
Angiosperms can be found almost anywhere. They can live from high altitude to cooler areas. They need certain things to reproduce and for fertilization to take place. Water is needed for reproduction and fertilization. This is done through the roots that absorb the water from the soil. Fertilization and pollination occurs. The method of pollination allows winged animals to deliver the sperm straight to the female gametes. Seeds are produced through meiosis. In the process, the cell divides into two. They are covered seeds that are found in foods. The presence of both pollination and fertilization allows a species to extend itself to wider areas.
Sexual reproduction is a type of reproduction by which an offspring arises from a single organism and inherits the genes of that parent only. It is not involved in the fusion of gametes. Sexual reproduction is a form of reproduction where two distinct types of specialized reproductive cells called gametes fuse together, involving a female's ovum and a male sperm to form an offspring. Sexual reproduction would be more effective in changing environmental conditions because it will give you a diversity of plants with different features, whereas an asexual population is limited to the same offspring over and over. Petals. Petals are usually large and colored and lie inside the sepals. This flower we are examining does not have a sepal. Both sepals and petals are attached to the enlarged end of a stalk. These parts of the flower are not directly involved in sexual reproduction. The stamen. The stamen is the male reproductive organ. The number of stamens in a certain flower varies according to the type of flower it is. The stamen is inside the flower, protected by the petals. They are very delicate stalks, ending with a small sac, or known as the anther. The anther produces thousands of grains of pollen. The pistil, also known as the carpel. The central stalk surrounded by the stamens is the female reproductive organ, known as a carpal pistil. It is composed of an enlarged basal part, the ovary, above which is an elongated part, the style. It is ended off on the top with a stigma.